Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Kuroko no Basket Season 2. We are on Episode 2, and in the first episode for Season 2, we got introduced to Kagami's brother. Not really by blood, but, they were two Japanese kids in America, and Tatsuya was a fan of basketball and pretty good at it when he was a kid, and introduced it to Kagami. And over time, where Tatsuya was training Kagami, Kagami got really close with Tatsuya, to the point where he said that, if he had an older brother, he would be exactly like Tatsuya. Since then, they obviously both got those rings to signify that they are, they consider each other brothers. And, as time passed, when they got older, they had officially, what would it have been? It would have been like 98 matches played against each other, and they both won 49 of them. And for the match that would be considered the 50th, Tatsuya dropped a bombshell on Kagami with the whole, if I lose, then I can't consider myself my older brother anymore. Which I thought was harsh, but there could be reasons for it. I explained it in the post discussion for episode 1, so if you missed that, you want to go, hear my talk on it, then you can do with that. But before that could actually happen, well, they did actually have technically the 50th match, but they considered it a tie because Tatsuya was injured and Kagami on purpose missed a shot because obviously he felt like it was unfair. So they called it a tie, and the official 50th match is actually now taking place like years later, or sometime later anyway, where Tatsuya is now back in Japan playing for Yosen. And obviously they're going up against Seirin in a 5-on-5 street ball match, where that same the brothership thing is still on the line. Now whether that goes through or not, I don't know if it truly will. Tatsuya did obviously suggest the opposite for this, for this one. Because originally it was if he loses, then that's it. But you can't consider being a brother anymore. But now it's changed to if Kagami doesn't win, then they forget that exists. So it's just opposite shit. You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting. But the fact is just I have a feeling Yosen might get the victory here, and it could set up a perfect revenge match for them in the Winter Cup when they go up against Yosen. Which I feel like they're just setting up that anyway. And yeah, we got the results obviously of the Inter High with Rakazan coming in first, so Akashi's team, Toto second, and Yosen third. But they never played any of their Generation of Miracles in their last two games, so it's still up in the air as to whether or not who is the best Generation of Miracles player overall. So yeah, we're going to get into this little 5-on-5 shoot ball match, I imagine. So yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So if you do want to go watch the reaction, link is in the description below. There's also a link to the full-length reaction there if you do want to watch that and not just the 10-minute version. Then the offer is there for you. So yeah, nothing else to really talk about. We're going to get in episode 2 of season 2 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 2. Yeah, fucking disappointed that bloody fucking weather called it off. I suppose it's no different from today, actually, in real life, because even though it's summer in England, we've had a lot of days where it's been quite warm, quite hot. The sun hasn't always been out in full force, but it's generally the weather in England, especially in recent years, has been really good. But today is the first time it has really lashed down with rain for a while. So yeah, I guess art imitates life. But yeah, so a bit disappointing that was the case. I said during the reactions, fate or destiny has willed it that this is not allowed to be the 50th match. So yeah, it's going to end up being the competitive one in the Winter Cup then. That's what it's going to be. So there's even more stakes on the line. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that match. Because now, what I was talking about last episode was I felt like the match with Yosen would be a very dynamic one because you've got Kagami and Tatsuya, and then you've got Kuroko and Murasaki Bara, and then you've also got the Kagami versus Murasaki Bara thing, because that's generally what it is it's Kagami being the main fighting force to the other generation, like, you know, going up against the other generation miracles. So you've got all that, and then in this episode they added even more to it with Kiyoshi. So they played each other in middle school, and Murasaki Bara actually does remember him and everything like that, you know. So, and with them two being the two centers, there's so much different dynamics between the players on either team, which so yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, and I can't wait for that one. So yeah, Akashi told specifically only Murasaki Bara not to play, which, you know, is interesting. So the idea was that it seemed as though the way that it was set up in the semi-final, it was Rakuzan versus Yosen, and neither of them played. And then when it came to Rakuzan versus Toho in the final, Aomine was injured, Akashi didn't play because it wouldn't have been interesting. So I think there is, I don't know, it's odd because in one aspect I feel like it has to do with the fact that Aomine was injured, why it happened this way. It seems as though Akashi only wants to play in a game where he is needed, because like he says, his victory is assured if he plays. So there has to be some reason for him to be actually on the court. There has to be an inkling that he may not win if he's not involved. It has to, I mean, that's the thing as well, like, to talk about none of the Generation of Miracles actually playing, that basically puts Rakuzan as a devastating team if they can beat Toho, you know, without Akashi in it. So that's going to be insane whenever, you know, we get to see them play. But yeah, I mean, with Akashi not playing, it's because it's not interesting. It's just the other part of that where Murasaki Bara refuses to play against Akashi, where it's just like, it seems like a very convenient reason, I'll be honest, because then it's just like, I feel as though because Akashi is like, he's almost like the final boss in a way, that if Murasaki Bara was to go up against Akashi, he would lose. But we can't have that because we need that for the story against Seirin, where we force him to have fun, in a way, you know? But then even that, I mean, even if he was to go up against Rakuzan and lose while playing, I don't know if that would force... I don't know. Because the way that Murasaki Bara works is that he doesn't have fun. It's like he doesn't know how to have fun. The one thing that he is talented at is something that he doesn't have fun at. But he wins, so he does it. So it would be an interesting sort of alternate universe where he did go up against Rakuzan and like lost, and just see how that changes him in any way. I feel like, I don't know, Murasaki Bara has to feel like he's definitely going to win, you know, and he needs to be beaten by a team that he thinks in his head that he knows he isn't going to lose at, but then he ends up losing, and that's the thing that'll change his mind. It's a different way. It's a different way that he looks at it compared to the other Generation Miracles, which I like. You know, it seems that way for you know, the I mean, it is similar because it is just that thing of they have to lose to know, like, to understand, to get the fun of basketball again, you know, because that's like completely like gone from their experience of playing basketball. It just became about winning. So it's like they have to lose to get that fun back into it. You know what I mean? Like that idea that, oh, I haven't reached the pinnacle. You know what I mean? There's still another level to go. There's still more to do. And that competition, that drive for that competition gets the, it brings it back to them. And inevitably that will happen with Aomine. Midorima says it didn't happen to him, but Midorima that isn't out of character for him anyway. Everything that he does outside of basketball is very like mischievous. Like he's like a liar, you know what I mean? Like he acts like he's not. He's a tsundere, isn't he? He really is. I mean, Taco said that he was, and he is, because he says that, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about watching any of this. It doesn't matter. And then he'll go in, he'll put shades on and go watch it. So when he was at the restaurant with the other guy, with Kisei and Kagami and Kuroko and everything like that, and he was saying, I don't play basketball for fun. Even though, like, at any point that we've seen him after that match, he has, at some point, had a smile on his face. Like, Taco will say something and Midorima will slightly smile or something like that. So I feel like that drive that, he went and lost, I feel like did change him. It's just that because Midorima wants to keep up this appearance, he doesn't show it, You'll not tell anybody that that the fun is back, but the fun is back for him. It definitely is. So the same, the same as happened with Kisei. You know what I mean? He's having fun with his team. The same will happen with Aomine when that comes around. And I imagine the same will come around with Murasaki Bara. It'll be interesting with him specifically, I think, because with Murasaki Bara, because his personality is so, like, just that tired, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would feel as though just having something that he can actually enjoy, that he is good at, would bring out a bit of personality a bit more. Like, I don't know if he would act as tired, like a bit more energy may come out from, but we'll see. I liked the Murasaki Bara. Basically, his personality has been very childlike, and Kagami obviously using that to provoke him into a match. Not that it mattered anyway. I mean, we got a bit of a sense that whole little, part of the match before it got called off was used to, like, see Tatsuya, and I think what his ability is. Now, it's funny because he said to Kagami, he says, "I'll leave you with a technique that you don't know yet," and it's like, you didn't teach him it, but you showed him, right? So my only thought was, before he let it go, he changed it to another hand. Like a very slightly, like, sleight of hand, changed it over, so that Kagami was thinking that it was coming from this hand, but it actually came from this hand, and like this hand, and it went past his hand, Kagami's thinking it's coming from one side when it's actually coming from the other. It takes a hell of a lot of control and accuracy to be able to pull that off without just slightly tapping the end of the hand. But I'm sure we'll get, like, a more in-depth description and look at how that actually works. Same with Kuroko's drive that he's managed to actually. We actually see it now, which is good. He's actually improved it and he's practiced at it and it works. So that's good. I also like the fact where he just basically said, like, I'm going to show you it because it doesn't matter anyway. Like, from Momoi's point of view, it's like, if he can perfect it, no one's going to stop him anyway, even if they do know about it. But the fact of, like, I'll show you it and you can tell Aomine about it all you want, because at the end of the day, before we even get to play him again, Kuroko's like, I'm going to be using it in my other matches, so that you'll know about it anyway. So I might as well just show you now and use it as a way to, as like a way to make up with Aomine as well. Speaking of which, it was nice to see Aomine, like, realize, like, the way that he was acting was a bit dickish, you know, because with anybody else, it's very much like just about him, and he doesn't care who gets in his way, and he doesn't care who he hurts, really. But that one time, that's something that he wasn't actually expecting. He called her ugly, man. Oh god. But yeah, so she ran away, and Almina was like, whoa, hold on. You know what I mean? Like, damn. So that was nice to see that little soft spot that the Toho coach was talking about, which I feel like he's still got there. But yeah, we also had so the centers marking each other. So yeah, I guess that is sort of just a general thing that would happen in basketball. I mean, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not concrete, because things can be fluid in sports. So obviously you don't need a center marking another center, but generally I would think that would be the case, because I mean, basketball is a game with height, and you kind of would want, especially someone as tall as Murasaki Bara, you would want to have another tall player on the team, and Kiyoshi being that, it makes sense. So yeah, Kiyoshi catching the ignite pass, that was great. I love the fact that he pointed out that they already put a limit on it for Kiyoshi himself, because even Kiyoshi said, Jesus, like I can't do that very much more. You know what I mean? So even like for Kiyoshi, that's he can do it, but there's a limit. But it's interesting. Like, this is the kind of thing that I was talking about last season with Kagami and Kiyoshi. If they're on the court at the same time, who goes for the dunks? Because really, you would think it would be the center, but I don't know. I guess the center doesn't really dunk. At least he doesn't have to, because if he's right under the hoop, you would just do the, you know what I mean? Like, just the up and over, or like, knock it off the backboard slightly, or just, think I curl it off into the hoop. But, so I guess they don't really dunk. Power forwards, yeah, I guess the power forward's more likely to dunk, but, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Tatsuya's always got that smooth transition as well, so even looking like he may not even go for a jump because it's so quick and smooth. Kagami couldn't even tell what he was going to do, so he couldn't get up high enough even to block him. So that's going to be interesting when that comes back around for the competitive match. Like, again, it's just going to be one of those things where we just have to wait out at least a quarter for Kagami to start getting the hang of it and everything like that. So yeah, and then they were talking about Aomina's injury. So they're basically the idea is that Generation of Miracles, because their talent is so far beyond what their bodies are actually capable of, because they're still developing and everything like that, makes sense. I assume that to some degree that is exactly the same as what happened with Kiyoshi. Because even though he isn't Generation of Miracles, he's still sort of beyond a lot of others. And things like that. But there was never a moment, a specific moment in the Kisei Aomine match where I even saw any inkling that Aomine had injured himself. Though the thing is, a lot of the time you can take into account adrenaline and everything like that, because that can push you through a lot of pain, and sometimes you wouldn't even notice until after the match, and you're like, fucking hell. So it's possible that was the case there, but it also shows just how Kisei pushed, how much Kisei pushed Aomine to be able to do that, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, I feel as though with Akashi it is that kind of thing of things would have been different had Aomine been fully fit. I feel like Akashi would have been in that game. So, but it would just be interesting. You see, this is the thing. It's it would be so interesting to see other matches where they are Akashi would be just an interesting one, to go up against any of the other Generation of Miracles and to watch that and see how it would play out. Because Akashi, I mean, it's said that like he is assured victory if he plays, and that goes, and that apparently that would be, I guess you would think the same way if Aomine was playing in tow, like Akashi would be confident that he would be able to deal with that. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's so many different ways that this show could have gone, like alternate universes where certain Generation of Miracles went up against other Generation of Miracles even before Seirin got to them, like. But and then it's just like, well, how would they all think? Because they all come from the same place where they all had the same mentality driven into their heads of winning, and then when they come together, only one team can win. So it's just like, But because it's Seirin and we're following them, and it just so happens, like, conveniently, obviously, for the story, like, Seirin play each of them first before any of them would go up against each other. Yeah. And even the one that you could consider, like, not even the same because Kaijo went up against Aomine, like, I still don't see it as a true reflection of, like, Seirin versus Kaijo, that practice match. I don't really count it because it's not competitive. So even though, taking that into account, Kaijo going up against Aomine, Seirin haven't really played them yet. Like, they haven't really played Kaijo properly. Even the person that did lose in that was Kisei. But Kisei has already been seen to lose in the practice match. And he was considered the weakest anyway. Like, he said himself that he was the weakest out of the bunch. So it wasn't a massive surprise that he lost, but it makes sense, I guess, for the story. But yeah, I can't wait anyway going forward, and see what future matches we behold. I mean, if we're talking about the Winter Cup being this whole season, there's teams that we're going to be going up against that I don't know which teams we're not going to be going up against, I should say that, because Shotoku's wanting revenge, right? But what's the odds that we even go up against Shotoku? Because in tournament style, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be put in the same, two Generation of Miracles. Like, for example, like, you could have Toho and Shotoku going up against each other, maybe. I don't know how the Winter Cup works in regards to prefectures, though, and everything like that, So, I don't know. I would assume that because of the Inter-High prelims being only the top two being qualified, I feel like there isn't going to be a prefectural thing anyway. So therefore, you can't really guarantee anything. Like, you could have Shotoku going up against Rakuzan in, like, the first match, and then all of a sudden you don't have Shotoku getting their revenge match at the Winter Cup against Seirin. So, it's going to be interesting to see what comes up. I feel like just because, obviously, it's setting up the Yosen one, that's definitely going to happen. Other than that, it could be, I don't know, it could be anything. We could have Kaijo against Seirin in this season. We could have Toho again. We could have Shotoku. We could have Rakuzan. Could be any of them. But, yeah. Anyway, that is all I've got. So if you do want to get access to episode 3 and 4 right now, and you don't have to wait another week for them to come out, then you can go to my Patreon, become an early access tier patron, which is $5 a month, and that gives you access to obviously all of my shows that I react to a week early. There's also the full length tier if you want to watch any of the reactions in full and not just the 10-minute version, and there is the exclusive tier which gives you access to reactions to movies and things like that as well. So yeah, go over there, have a look at them in more detail. There's also a link to the Discord in the description as well, so if you want to get over there, then you can. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.